Welcome back to A Hill with a View. My name is Moshe Hill, and I really am excited to get into this week's episode. I thought we were going to be talking about the warmth of collectivism with our new mayor of New York City, Zay Mamdani. I thought we were going to get rid of that rugged, cold frigidity of individualism, talk about the warmth of collectivism, but that rugged frigidity of individualism actually went into Venezuela and took the warmth of collectivism right out of that communist paradise. And so we're going to be talking about that today. We're going to be talking about really the four factions that are against every single thing that Trump does and how they all say the same thing every single time. It doesn't matter what the story is. They have the four same things that they talk about every single time. We're going to get into it. So make sure that you share, like, subscribe, tell a friend, share the podcast, share the videos, share the YouTube channel. We're on YouTube, A Hill with a View, Spotify, A Hill with a View, Apple Podcast, A Hill with a View. Look on the Instagram for some clips. That's at Hill with View, X.com at Hill with View, TikTok, Hill with View, and Facebook, Hill with View. I mean, we're everywhere, anywhere, all the social media. So make sure you like, subscribe, follow, do all of that stuff. That would be great. So we got four factions. That's what we're going to talk about today that are reacting to Maduro, the not really kidnapping. It is a lawful capture of Maduro. This has been, there is precedent for this. It's talked about a lot in the Wall Street Journal today. They put out an article basically talking about the precedent for this kind of action. It's happened. Nicholas Creel wrote about it in the Wall Street Journal today. Definitely take a look if you have a chance. But basically, it is legal. Courts have gave it their blessing in the past for something like that. But basically, everyone is talking about this today, and this is what we're going to get into. So the four factions that are against this are the same four factions that are basically against anything that Trump does. And it's not just on the left, it's on the right as well, that they're against anything and everything that Trump does. So the first faction, I'm going to go from extreme left all the way to the right that horseshoes back into the left. That's how we're going to start with this. So first we got the pro-communist left. This is the AOCs. This is the Mamdanis. This is the Bernie Sanders. This is mostly protesters on the streets. These are the people who are out within hours with printed signs ready. Of course, it's all just natural, and it's all just, this is just, no one gets paid for this. No one does this kind of thing. I mean, it's actually, they are revealing themselves. They're showing how they're just paid protesters, how they have no idea what they're talking about, how they don't care about any particular issue. They trade in their Palestinian flag for a Venezuelan flag. I mean, I think it's been a while since they had the Palestinian flag, actually. I think they had the Mexican flag for a while there. They had the Somali flag 2 weeks ago. That's traded in. This is the same people who had the Ukrainian flag. I think they have every single flag except for the American one. I think that if you say, oh, I need to get an American flag, we don't have those. They have Israeli flags to burn them. But they don't have USA flags. They don't even want to burn those anymore. That's passé. That's, who wants to burn an American flag anymore? The fun thing is to burn an Israeli flag. So they get their flags out and they're going and waving in the street. And they're saying that we are for the Venezuelan people. We're here to talk about the Venezuelan people and what they need and what they desire. Except that the Venezuelan people are out in the streets celebrating this. And if you don't think that that's true, if you're like, well, that's only a few people. There was an election a few years ago that Maduro lost. The reason why there is precedent to go in and get him is because he lost an election and refused to give up power. Now, these same people who are out on the streets saying that they demand that Maduro stay in power are also the same people who go out on the streets for the No Kings protest, who also are part of Antifa, anti-fascist, who also say that Trump is a dictator. So I don't think you guys know what you're talking about here. I mean, they just viscerally hate anything that Trump does, and they are pro-communist, and they love that Maduro is a communist and that he has destroyed his country. I mean, Venezuela's a communist paradise. You know, they're eating dogs on the streets. Their per capita GDP has dropped by half in the last few years since Hugo Chavez took over, and then Maduro took over after Chavez. I mean, it's really the best case scenario for all the socialists. This is what they love. I mean, it's an oil-rich country, it's a minerals-rich country, and it is poor as anything. I mean, it should be literally the wealthiest country in the South American continent. It really should be, and it's not because of communism, because of socialism. So obviously all the socialists are out on the streets. They are very, very upset about what's going on. What is funny, though, is that you have the same people on the Democrat side who are against everything that Trump does, who really have to figure out a way to justify why they hate this, because they actually don't like Maduro. So there's a lot of examples of this. Everyone's digging up old tweets and old footage and old video from 2019, 2020. But the funniest thing is that on January 10th, 2025, so less than a year ago, the Biden-Harris administration put up a $25 million bounty against Maduro. So this is the second faction. So we had the first faction, which is the pro-communist left. Those are all the videos. You see all these people. These are the paid protesters. These are the people who are paid a lot of money to get people riled up. I'm not saying that everyone out on the streets is a paid protester. A lot of them are just losers who will just protest anything, and they just do it for free. I bet you a lot of people go out there and do it for free. This is their hobby. This is what they want to do. But the organizers, the people who are putting this all together, they are clearly paid. There's obviously a lot of money behind this. It's not easy to print up that many signs and placards all around the country. Like, you're seeing the exact same signs in protests in New York and in Portland, Oregon. Like, on the other side of the country, you're seeing the exact same signs. There's obviously coordinated. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure this out. The question is, who is paying for it? Who are the people who are doing this? So the only one who I know who is actually going and investigating these people who are obviously paid protesters is Nate Friedman. He has gotten some notoriety as an investigative journalist. He basically goes around to all these protests and physically does the work. He recognizes the people who are at the same protests or at all the different protests, or the same people at the different protests. And he recognizes them, he gets their names, and he investigates them, and he's like, okay, this person was at this one, and this one is this one. Fascinating Instagram feed. When you watch his videos, you see it's like fascinating. It's like, oh, this person's here, this person's there. He's actually doing the work. So here's him going to the Venezuela protesters yesterday.
Thank you so much. Bless you. Thank you. Hey, Manolo, how you doing? My name is Nate. Nice to meet you. I'm good. How are you? Would you mind doing an interview right now? Can I ask why?
So obviously the people don't say anything.
You're the leader of the People's Forum. You got $20 million from Roy Neville Singham to protest. Can I ask why you don't want to speak with me right now? Do you deny that you got $20 million to protest? You don't deny that? How are you spending that $20 million to protest? I know you're paying David Chung $75K a year. Anyone else on the payroll? Oh, David, what's up, man? I didn't recognize you. Hey, you're back, buddy. How you doing?
It's funny because he's like, he mentioned.
Won't deny it. Because it's a fact. All the signs are ready.
So this guy's great. I mean, I happen to be on the side of like not denying something doesn't mean isn't also a confirmation of something, but he does have these the receipts behind it, that he got that this person is paying $20 million to this organization to pray protest. This guy David Chung is paid $75,000 a year to pay protests. So $20 million for the organization, not for his individual salary. Then he goes. He also goes to.
We should check out that communist flag over there.
Hold on. He also goes to people in the street. This is just great because these guys are just such morons. They have no idea what they're talking about. So this guy Nate Friedman, he went to the people on the streets protesting and showing them what Venezuelans think about this. Hold on, listen to this.
Is you out here today?
I'm organized with the Revolutionary Communists of America. We're out here to say hands off Venezuela, and we unequivocally stand with the people of Venezuela against U.S. imperialist aggression.
What do you think about the people of Venezuela celebrating on the streets?
What
do you think about the people of Venezuela celebrating on the streets today?
I saw images of Venezuelans being bombed after the U.S. bombed Caracas, so I'm not sure what you're talking about, but yeah, I think you should definitely
show me the bombings that you're talking about. I didn't see any.
I don't know. I just saw it on Reddit. It was on the front page of the
Reddit.
So
okay.
I don't know.
Yeah,
What do you think about the people celebrating? The hundreds of thousands of people that are in the streets celebrating.
I have
this guy's holding a
Can you
communist
show me
newspaper.
that?
Yeah.
Sure. U.S. imperialism.
People celebrating on the streets here. What do you think about that?
I mean, at the end of the day, I stand with the people of Venezuela against U.S. imperialism. The U.S. has no right to bomb the people of Venezuela. The U.S. has no right to kidnap another
Why
leader
are
of
they
another.
Celebrating? Why are they celebrating?
I don't know. Do you have a correspondent there who can ask? I'm here demonstrating against. I'm here demonstrating against U.S. imperialism and the U.S. intervention.
Is this AI though? These images of everybody
I don't know.
celebrating?
You're the one showing me the video, so let me know. You're showing me the source. I don't know.
I don't think it's AI because it's
Okay.
being published by multiple news organizations. So just what are your thoughts on it?
I'm here protesting U.S. intervention,
understand that. I
U.S.
get that.
imperialism, and U.S. capitalism. You should check out that communist.
So he's there protesting. That's all he wants to do. He wants to protest. They protesting imperialism, but don't pretend that you're there to stand with the people of Venezuela. You're not. I mean, the people of Venezuela wanted this to happen. I mean, they voted against this guy. The guy cut onto power. You're the same people who think that Trump is a dictator who will hold on to power. This guy is actually a dictator who holds on to power, and you're protesting on his behalf. So don't get me started. Okay, so that's faction number one. So we got faction number one, the communists. Faction number two is the establishment Democrats who just hate everything Trump does. Everything that Trump does. So let's go. We'll just go rapid fire through here because we really could do this all day with every single one of these people. So we're going to start with Senator Chris Van Hollen. Chris Van Hollen said, let's be clear. Trump admin is lying to the American people. This has never been about stopping drugs coming to the U.S. It's about grabbing Venezuela's oil for his billionaire buddies. Trump has put American troops in harm's way to boost oil company profits. Outrageous. Okay, so this is what the line has. The word went out to the Democrats, and this is going to be repeated over and over again. It's going to be repeated by some people on the right as well. We'll get to that. That this is just about oil. This is just about Trump's handling for his billionaire buddies. I mean, it's the same thing every time, guys. Every single time. Big, beautiful bill. It's for his billionaire buddies. Deportations. They're for his billionaire buddies. Putting someone on the Supreme Court. It's for his billionaire buddies. Moving the embassy in Jerusalem. It's for his billionaire buddies. Like, everything is for their billionaire buddies. Like, you gotta have a new line here. Like, even if you think that Trump has bad motivations, you could still say this is an objectively good thing to have happened. And guess what? They realize that it's an objectively good thing to have happened because this is what Senator Chris Van Hollen said in a year ago, less than a year ago, when Harris and Biden, well, really, Biden wasn't there. I guess we're talking about Jill Biden now, not Joe Biden. But They said a year ago when they put a $25 million bounty on him, the whole world knows Nicolás Maduro lost Venezuela's presidential election last year. The Venezuelan people know it, and Maduro himself knows it too. He has no right to claim the presidency today. We stand with the Venezuelan people in their ongoing fight for democracy. So did they stand with the Venezuelan people then, or are they standing with them now? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. Because if they're standing with them then it's a good thing that they go out. That Maduro's out. If they're standing with them now, then they want Maduro to be in? Like, I don't understand. So they can't keep their story straight. So that's Chris Van Hollen. Then we have Chris Murphey, another moron. He said in January of 2019, so this is in Trump's first term, if Trump cared about consistency, he would make the realist case for intervention in Venezuela. Getting rid of Maduro is good for the United States. That rather than trying to pretend his administration all of a sudden cares about toppling anti-democratic regimes. That was during Trump's first administration, where he's basically daring Trump to go in there and get rid of Maduro. Now that Trump actually did it, this is what he says. Air strikes on land targets. The illegality of Trump's insane war in Venezuela is out of control. Remember, this has nothing to do with stopping drugs from entering America. Venezuela produces cocaine bound for Europe. So it's like, oh, the cocaine that Venezuela makes, that doesn't go to America. First of all, how could you possibly know that? I don't care what intelligence briefings you say. You're like, oh, the cocaine that Venezuela makes, that doesn't come here. That goes to Europe. Oh, then it's okay. Like, what are you talking about? This is warmongering distraction. Okay, Chris Murphy, you absolute moron. You tool. You have no idea what the hell you're talking about ever. So that's you. And then there's another one from Chris Murphy. This is from... What is this from? It doesn't say. Oh, it's in 2020. The best thing that ever happened to Nicolás Maduro was Donald Trump. Trump's Venezuela policy has been a total disaster from 2020, strengthening Maduro's grip on power and frittering away any chance at a democratic transition. So they absolutely... These tweets are aged so well. It's amazing. Okay, I love Chris Murphy. So another thing from Chris Murphy is this video that from 2024... from Maze Moore. Everyone take a moment and listen to Chris Murphy in 2024 explain how the illegitimate Maduro remaining in power causes a crisis at our border.
So over the past decade, Nicolás Maduro, the brutal dictator of Venezuela, has presided over a stunning collapse of the Venezuelan economy that has caused nearly 8 million Venezuelans to leave that country, most of which destined for the United States. Part of the reason why we saw 10,000 people showing up at the border every day last year, a number that the United States just can't handle with current resources because of the meltdown of the Venezuelan economy. And so it's no surprise that in the election that was held this week, Maduro clearly lost. The briefings that I've received today suggest that Maduro not only lost, he probably lost in a landslide and is attempting as we speak to steal the election. If he's successful, not only will Venezuela continue to spiral into political and economic chaos, but you will see more people come to the southern border. Maduro is now in a corner. We're working with our allies and our partners in the region to try to force them to accept the results of this election.
All right, that's enough from you. You did absolutely nothing. The Biden administration did nothing. They couldn't stop Maduro. And we'll get to a clip of what they tried to do. They can't do anything, and Chris Murphy is now upset that Trump actually did something. You got Pete Buttigieg, who thinks that he is going to be a presidential candidate in 2028. And Secretary of Transportation because he likes choo-choo trains. The illegitimate takeover of this is from 2020. This is January 6, 2020. The illegitimate takeover of the Venezuelan National Assembly is further evidence that dictator Maduro will stop at nothing to consolidate his grip on power. I stand behind Juan Guaido and the Venezuelan people as they strive to reclaim their democracy and defend their rights. What are you going to do about it, Pete? Because when Trump actually did something that you, in theory, would agree with, you you say it's an old and obvious pattern. An unpopular president failing on the economy, losing a grip on power at home, decides to launch a war for a regime change abroad. Okay, first of all, the economy grew by like 4.3% or something last quarter. So what are you talking about? Losing a grip on power at home? No, I don't think so. The American people don't want to run a foreign country while leaders fail to improve life in this one. Yeah, we're not running Venezuela. I mean, they're basically, they went in, they took them, and they, got out of it. Dinesh D'Souza replies, I can see why you're against this. This is like all the people in Venezuela. The video is like all the people in Venezuela who are happy with what Trump did. Then you got, Mays. Okay, Mays Moore does an amazing job. And so this is, he brings back Chris Murphey. I wish.
So over the past decade, Nicholas.
So now you got Chuck Schumer. Lying Chuck Schumer, lying Chuck. He is very upset about Maduro, but let's see what he said in 2020. This is during Trump's first term. Another clip by Mays. At Mays Moore. 2020, Chuck Schumer criticizes Trump for not bringing an end to the Maduro regime. Schumer. Hold on, let's take a listen.
He brags about all these things he wants to do or is doing, but his actions belie his words. Maybe the best metaphor was his claim to bring democracy to Venezuela. There was a big policy there. It flopped. If the policy was working, Juan Guaido wouldn't be in the balcony here. He'd be in Venezuela. He'd be sitting in the president's palace, or at least waging a fight to win. He's here. And the president brags about his Venezuela policy? Give us a break. He hasn't brought an end to the Maduro regime. The Maduro regime is more powerful today and more entrenched today than it was when the president began. He brags about all these things he wants.
Okay, so this is what he said. He wanted an end to the Maduro regime. He wanted Trump to bring an end to the Maduro regime. This is 2020. He wanted Trump to do it. So Trump did it. So what does Chuck Schumer say today?
Rubio, I just heard him in your interview, said they're doing what's good for the American people. If they want to do what's good for the American people, it should not be some escapade in Venezuela. It should be focusing on lowering the cost of living that Americans are struggling with every week and tell us it's the most important issue they face. We Democrats are on our front foot. We're going to fight to lower the cost of living and undo all the bad things Republicans have done to raise the cost of living. It's going to be our number one focus in 2026. If they really wanted to do what the American people wanted, they'd be focusing on cost of living, not on some escapade in Venezuela, which could only lead to trouble. Rubio, I just heard him in your interviews.
So in 2020, he's telling Trump, this is what I want you to do. And in 2026, this is an escapade that's just going to lead to trouble. So, full statement by lying Chuck Schumer. Liar. Today, Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer released the following statement after President Trump launched military action against Venezuela without congressional authorization. His announcement that he plans to U.S. to run Venezuela. Obviously, you notice that the word run is in parentheses because they can't do a whole sentence in parentheses because that's not what he said. So... whatever. They just take the word run because he happened to use the word run. It's like, well, we're going to run it. We're going to run it. And it's like, I guess we're going to have to run it in the meantime. Like, that's just Trump saying stuff. Like, that's not the actual plan. But whatever. We're not going in there and running the country. So he said, let me be clear. Nicolás Maduro is an illegitimate dictator, but launching military action without congressional authorization, without a credible plan, is for what comes next is reckless. Okay, so what he wanted to do is he wanted to get congressional authorization to do this. Just like Obama did in Libya. He waited for congressional authorization, right? Right? No, he did not. In fact, that literally never happens. They never wait for congressional authorization. This is something that happens constantly in modern warfare, in the modern executive branch. Congress has delegated all of their powers basically to the executive branch. They've done this over the period of decades because you can't really do these one-off moves without while waiting for 435 plus another 100 senators to get their act together. So I can't read from Chuck Schumer. He's he's upset. He wanted it before. He's upset now. They say to distract from skyrocketing costs American face in the historic cover-up of the Epstein files. They throw in the Epstein files over there. All right, so lying Chuck Schumer. So this is just a quick thing of what, this is how the Biden administration handled Maduro. This is what they wanted to do. Let's see how it worked out for them.
I work at a...
Quickly turn to Venezuela, where Maduro once again demonstrated his complete disregard for democratic norms and proceeded with his illegitimate inauguration. As President Biden emphasized during his meeting with President-elect Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia on Monday, January 6, we believe that it is essential that the will of the Venezuelan people is respected. In coordination with our partners, we've given Maduro and his representatives every opportunity to restore democracy, but they haven't. So today we are building on all of our previous actions and taking further major actions. We announced new sanctions on key Maduro-aligned officials as a part of our efforts to hold them accountable, and we imposed more visa restrictions totaling nearly 2,000 individuals. We also increased the reward amount to $25 million for Nicolás Maduro and his so-called Minister of Interior as part of the Department of State's Narcotics Rewards Program. Quickly turn to...
All right, so absolutely meaningless. All right, so that's Karine Jean-Pierre. That was the Biden administration. We're going to impose sanctions. We're going to make sure this happens. What he's doing is bad, and nothing. Literally nothing. They don't do anything. They put a $25 million bounty on this guy's head. Does the U.S. government owe Trump $25 million now? I mean, I think they should take it and give it to the soldiers who actually pulled off this amazing, move, this amazing operation. And the details you hear from this, how they sent 150 different planes from 20 different countries, like 20 different locations. They all converged, and then they landed, and they picked them up in 3 minutes. Like, Marco Rubio did a couple interviews today where he talked about, like, the insanity of the operation, and they should definitely make a movie about it. But they're not going to do any of that. But they should give all those guys the money, the bounty. So this is also a great, great video. This is Nicolás Maduro in 2024, and Trump reposted this today. Hold on, listen. I'm going to translate it. So,
Venga por mí.
Come for me.
I
am waiting for you here in Miraflores. Don't take too long to arrive, coward.
Three things to say.
Then Trump posted this.
God bless America, and gentlemen, start your engine.
I mean, this is just epic. Trump is just like, I will come get you. I'll come get you. You tell me you were in Miraflores. I'm coming over there. Like you're in Caracas. Wherever you are, I'm going to come get you. I'm going to come get you.
Venga por mí.
Oh my God. Absolutely nuts. All right. So I spent a lot of time on faction number 2 because they are, hold on, before I get to Thomas Massey. I spent a lot of time on faction number 2 because they're the biggest and they're the largest in terms of elected officials, because basically the entire Democratic Party. John Fetterman was supportive of it, obviously, because he's the only sane Democrat. And the entire leadership of the Democratic Party. I'm not even going to bother with Kamala Harris to say, because she's nobody. She's not elected, and she never will be elected again unless she runs for something in California. But even then, it's unlikely that she would be elected again. So, but I'm not going to bother with her. They are one of the biggest groups. Then you have smaller groups. You have the isolationist right in Congress. That's really just Thomas Massey. Even Rand Paul was like kind of okay with this. He's like, okay, just make sure there's no refugees coming to the United States. That's all Rand Paul really cares about on this. But Thomas Massey is upset, and he's just echoing the same stuff that the Democrats are saying, that it's not I don't even want to listen to what he has to say. So I'll just read his tweet. He just says, "Wake up, MAGA. Venezuela is not about drugs. It's about oil and regime change. This is not what we voted for." So he's using the words oil and regime change because he wants to make it sound like it's Iraq. And so drugs is a good reason to do these things, but oil and regime change is not, according to Thomas Massie, because then he's like, if you say oil, if you say regime change, then people are going to think about Iraq. Even though Iraq was not about oil because we didn't take oil from Iraq, and regime change, yeah, because there was a whole thing. I'm not going to get into the whole Iraq thing right now, but he does that. He also does the Democrat argument of the founders vested war making power in Congress, but they didn't make a war. He did a one-off move, which is totally allowable by Congress. I think that's Ted Lieu behind him. I'm not sure. No, that doesn't look like Ted Lieu. But he just says all the basic stuff that Democrats say at this point. He's isolationist, so he says all the same stuff that they say. So Dave Smith, also on the isolationist right, I'm surprised he didn't blame this thing on Israel, because that's the next faction that we're talking about. He usually says these things, but he's more isolationist than he is. He does have Israel derangement syndrome, but he didn't focus on this one. He also, I think he learned his mistake from bombing Iran. So when Trump bombed Iran, Dave Smith was like, we're getting into a war, we're going to put boots in the ground, all that kind of stuff. But he has learned his lesson from that, and now he says that was the quickest regime change I've ever seen or remember reading about. I have to admit, I'm surprised and frankly impressed that they got Maduro so quickly. A couple of things I think are important to remember here. This whole thing was sold on lies, like old wars. It's never about the drugs. And all you have to do is look at the percentage of drugs that come from Venezuela to know that. Okay. It's ridiculous. All right. Trump overthrew a sovereign government without authorization from Congress for reasons he won't tell the American people, none of whom wanted this war. Okay, well, it's not a war, once again. It's not a war. A war is, like, longer. Like, there's currently two major wars going on in the world right now. Ukraine and Gaza. Gaza's in the middle of a ceasefire. So I don't know if they call that a war still, but it's whatever. But those wars last more than one operation. All right? In fact, the shortest war in living memory is a 6-day war in 1967. Even that lasted 6 days. It wasn't one operation. Okay? The most important question is always what comes. So this is also kind of rich, considering that Dave Smith wants to overthrow his sovereign government in Israel. He has called for the ouster of Netanyahu the same way. So, I mean, he would be okay with it if anyone did this to Israel. So it's odd. The most important question is always what comes next, and it's a question DC is famous for ignoring. In the case of Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, Yemen, it was a disaster. Despite all the war hawks completely celebrating the success. I hope it's something that comes next is better for the people of Venezuela and the region, but I'm not optimistic. These events have a tendency to destabilize. I mean, you could be not optimistic. I get that, but like you're just viscerally an isolationist and you don't want America to be involved in anything. And so that's that faction. Then there's this is the funniest faction. This is the Israel derangement syndrome, the Zionists are behind everything faction. This is on the right and the left. This is the horseshoe theory. Candace Owens, she's not even on the right anymore. I mean, I don't know what is right-wing about Candace Owens, like economically, foreign policy, social policy. I have no idea. Maybe socially, maybe. I don't know. But she's considered on the right, so let's just say she's on the right. So Candace says, Venezuela has been liberated like Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq were, quote, liberated. The CIA has staged another hostile takeover of a country at the behest of a globalist psychopaths. That's it. That's what's happening always everywhere. Zionists cheer every regime change. There has never been a single regime change that Zionists have not applauded because it means they get to steal land, oil, and other resources. Hope this helps. So what does this have to do with Zionists or Israel? I literally have no idea. Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks says the same thing. I agree with Steve Bannon that Trump is acting like Hillary Clinton at her neocon peak. Bombing all over the planet, Nigeria, Somalia, Venezuela, and going back into Iran for regime change, complete neocon establishment behavior. Why do we have to fight all of Israel's wars? What does this have to do with Israel? This has nothing to do with Israel. Like, absolutely nothing. And that's why they have Israel derangement syndrome. They have IDS. They see Israel everywhere. And it's making them crazy. So, absolutely nuts. Makes no sense. They think it's about Israel. Now, the funniest thing is that other people see that talking about Israel, talking about Jews, talking about Zionists, it's a great way to get into like the mind virus of these people online and to cause destabilization. They like, so people on like Cenk and Candace, they're happy to cause the destabilization of the American body politic. It gets them views. It gets them advertising dollars. It gets them, money from their YouTube channel, their subs, and they're happy to do it. And other people see this. Other countries see this. Other leaders see this. And so they know that they'll get more play by saying certain buzzwords. So the Venezuelan vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, implicated Israel. This is according to the Jerusalem Post. Michael Starr, Mathilda Heller writing. Implicated Israel in the Saturday U.S. military operation that struck state infrastructure and captured President Nicolás Maduro and First Lady Celia Flores. The governments of the world are shocked by that the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela is the victim and target of an attack of this nature, which undoubtedly has Zionist undertones, Rodriguez said in a Saturday address in which she convened a National Defense Council. It's truly shameful. So, Zionist undertones. What? Do you think Israel doesn't have enough problems? Like, do you think they don't have enough to do? Like, they're basically wrapping up 7 wars right now. Like, they've been in 7 wars over the last 2 years in the region. They're fighting against Hamas. They're fighting against Hezbollah in the north. They're fighting against Palestinian Islamic Jihad. They're fighting against Palestinian terrorism in Judea and Samaria. They're fighting against Yemen. They're fighting the Houthis in Yemen. They were fighting against Iran. They're fighting they're having PR fights. I mean, why would they want to go over to Venezuela? And why would it benefit Israel? Like, what does it have to do with Israel? I mean, sure, it benefits Israel in a way because Maduro was very anti-Israel, so maybe his replacement will not be anti-Israel. But, like, who cares? Like, on the list of priorities, it's very, very, very low down. But that's all they think about. They have Israel derangement syndrome. And other people are using that Israel derangement syndrome in order to increase their stance in the American political consciousness. So it's absolutely nuts. So you have these 4 factions. You have the pro-communist left, the anti-Trump elected Democrats, the isolationist right, and the Israel derangement syndrome left-right horseshoe. And they will react to every single thing every single way. It does not matter what the story is. It does not matter what happens. They will always, anything Trump does, every single one of these people will react in the exact same way. The pro-communist left will say, oh, we hate this. It's American imperialism, we're anti-American, yada, yada, yada. The anti-Trump elected Dems, they're going to say, it's about the billionaire buddies. It's all about the billionaire buddies. The isolationist right, Tom Massey, he's going to say, this is not what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to do anything. We can't do anything. And the IDS left-right horseshoe is, well, he's just doing this on behalf of Israel. So it doesn't matter what it is. It's always going to be the same story. All right. That's going to do it for this week's show. Maybe we'll come back later in the week, talk about Mamdani. Let's see how he handles his first week in office. Embracing the warmth of collectivism. That's what we're doing over here. So let's embrace that warmth. Oh my gosh. All right. Now, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with a friend. Tell people about this. This is a growing show. We need your help to grow. So please share around. Make sure to subscribe as well. Make sure to rate us 5 stars. And that way we keep growing. So thank you very much. My name is Moshe Hill. This has been A Hill with a View.